What? Hello. Okay, welcome back, everyone who had been watching part 1 of today's live stream. Unfortunately, I've got oops, I did this again. I didn't catch it in time. Every time I have YouTube open, it starts redundancy in the audio. So, anyways, we had a glitch in the stream, so here we are back again. Hopefully we will be able to have Craig from Black Manic Comics and Fuzzy be able to rejoin us. So I resent the links out to them. So crazy. But here we are again. So sorry, give me a second. If you're watching, I'm just going to take a moment to make sure everyone has the appropriate link to the right place. There we go. There we go. Okay. Well, crazy. Okay. Well, I will just keep my eye out to see if anyone joins in. Yeah, that was unfortunate. We were talking about good things, and unfortunately, I think the algorithm on YouTube picked up some of the words that we were saying and misconstrued that we were talking about not so good things, and they took the stream down. Silly. We were actually talking about really good things, so that's unfortunate. But it happens. So we will roll with it. So I made an appeal. Hopefully they'll be able to bring that video back up, but oh well. So anyways, if you're watching, or maybe you're watching this later, part 2, we're working on a comic page, adding some revisions today and some tweaks and adding a little bit more line art. So doing some electricity plasma here, and I'm adding some cool lines to it. And I'm working in layers. Found my layer that I was working on. Okay. Looks like we may have a couple people back. All right. Okay. Well, I will just keep my eye out. If anyone is in the back room and ready to come aboard, shout something out in the text, and I will hopefully see it and let you on. In the meantime, I'm trying to get all my windows to cooperate with each other. Okay, good enough. Yeah, to those who are watching, sorry, doing some boring line art. Maybe while no one is here, maybe I'll open up a different document and work on something a little more interesting. Let's see. That's looking pretty good. Oh, we got Fuzzy's back.
All right, I'm switching over. I'll see you in a minute.
Okay.
Sorry. No. I was talking to Craig.
Oh.
Craig came back. We'd just been hanging out.
Oh, good. I was just hoping like, well, it's in the sent messages of the box.
Yeah, so. No, we just got so into our conversation that I was like, I was like, oh man, I haven't checked the email. Shoot. So hopefully he's coming here in a second. What'd you say?
You just keep streaming on your own. I'm like, where are you guys? I need my backup.
Yeah, we were talking about something that I do not believe should be on the stream.
Oh, right? Otherwise, it's going to happen again.
Yeah, you know what's weird is that just sounded like we were talking about something so awful, and we weren't.
No, I know. It's unfortunate.
I hate this. I can't talk about stuff, and it makes me sound even worse than I am. I don't know.
I think now that I have a better understanding of, here we are. Welcome back, Craig. Here we are again. We may have lost our audience, but oh well. Hopefully they will navigate and find it again. So that was exciting. Fuzzy said that you guys are getting all out on the other side.
Yeah. Trying to have the conversation that we're not supposed to have here.
Good conversations about empowering and uplifting people.
That's what we were having.
That's exactly what I put in the appeal. So I said we were talking about helping and empowering people. So computer.
You can't even post, like I thought I might be able to post a comment on the other one, but you can't even post a comment on it. So
no, everything's gone. That's how that works.
Well, they said that I have the link. It's open on one of my tabs. I don't think I could probably share it, but I think it's just for me as a creator to think about all the bad I've done. In the corner sort of style.
Can you comment on it and just put the link? Put the link to this one in there. If anybody's still watching and waiting.
I don't think anyone else can watch it.
No, you can't. And once your thing's been taken down, they keep it up for 3 days, I think, for you to look at.
It said 7, but it could be 3.
7 days, or I thought it was 72 hours.
7 days.
Wow. All right.
Well, but we'll see. I did post the appeal, and we'll see if they bring it back. And I wonder if there's a copy on StreamYard.
That's a good question.
Whatever. I'm just happy to work with people, and be able to chat with people in the chat. So,
right.
I think we're gonna have to make up some code words, right?
I mean, that's all that's gonna end up from this. Is just people making up, new ways to say the same old thing. And
I know. It doesn't actually stop it. So, and that's unfortunate because it's really, you can't have those good conversations of making change and difference when you're not allowed, freedom of speech, huh? Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I know that there is that very fine gray area, but it's sort of effect.
I think the problem right now is because there's so much turmoil politically.
Mm-hmm.
And the social media sites are basically being threatened that anything that's on their site that somebody takes offense to, they can be sued over it. Not you personally, YouTube can be sued for it.
Right.
That's the threat that's out there hanging over their heads. So they've got this knee-jerk reaction where they just, take anything down without even really looking at it.
Right. Yeah. That's true. And for any of those who are watching now, what happened is our stream was taking down. We were actually talking about some really good ways of helping and empowering different types of communities. But there is what we believe a YouTube algorithm that finds out certain trigger words that are typically words of controversy in sometimes, but this wasn't even controversial. But it's sort of a blanket effect, and I think it must have grabbed those words, and the robot said, "You're out. Strikes are out." So that's what happened.
Yes, the robot. The robot controls our existence now.
The Matrix.
I'm excited.
Man.
Have you seen to change gears completely and on purpose? Have you seen stuff from? I don't know. Have they put anything out yet? I've seen that they're making a new Matrix.
No.
I have heard of that. I kind of forgot though. That was all I heard.
It's Jonathan Groff is in it, and he looks. I mean, he's always looked like a freaking Agent Smith to me. So.
I actually am not entirely familiar with him, so I have to look him up.
I think Jonathan Groff's in it. Am I losing my mind? He's the. Gosh darn it! Oh yeah, he's in it. He's in the serial killer show on Netflix that I can't think of.
The Good Son? No, Prodigal Son. I don't know any serial killers. That's the only one that.
Mindhunter.
Okay.
Oh.
Huh.
He's been in a lot of stuff. He was Mindhunter. He was in that musical about Hamilton. He was in Hamilton. He was the king.
Oh,
Really?
He's the voice of Kristoff in Frozen.
We were just talking about him today, actually. That's really interesting. So he's going to be like the Agent Smith then?
Well, I mean, I guess. They haven't released anything. I just know he's in there and he looks like a freaking robot, so. If you've watched, I mean, it's funny because he does such a good job on Mindhunter, and if he he could just pull his character from Mindhunter and put it in the Matrix, and it wouldn't feel amiss at all.
Is there a projected release date that we know of?
22, I think.
Okay.
Wow, that's pretty soon.
Yeah, coming up soon.
I'm crazy impatient, but I'm glad that you're optimistic. It feels like an eternity from now, and I'm like, I guess it's just because like so much can happen, you know.
Yeah.
In 2 years, I could up and die, and
Oh my gosh.
There's that old fuzzy we've been waiting for.
oh wow!
And then you wouldn't be able to see the new Matrix before. Oh,
Well, so now you've got a reason. You've got a reason to stick around.
Right.
They released a couple of a few pictures, literally 4 pictures of them on the set of Keanu and Carrie-Anne Moss.
Oh, is Keanu going to be in there?
Oh yeah.
Good. Just making sure.
The whole reason they're making it is because everybody loves Keanu right now.
Uh-huh.
Right? Have you guys seen John Wick?
I've seen all of them. Yeah.
Is it good?
I will say that you know that saying that people say like 1 had to walk so that 2 could run and 3 could fly.
Yeah.
I would say it fits that pretty well.
Because that's right. There were 3 of them.
Yeah. 1 is fine. It's an acceptable action movie. You know? It's if you go in, it's a great popcorn flick. 2 is like I don't know, they kind of up the ante and you're like, well, this is fun, you know?
Yeah.
And then 3 was like bonkers, like broke, you know, they really built on all the rules that they set for themselves.
Yeah.
And broke some of them, but all on purpose, you know. It was 3 was such a good movie, and it was so much better in my opinion than the first 2, but it also couldn't exist without the first 2.
Yeah.
That's interesting because normally you start out with a bang and then every
right
movie come out afterwards is like
But I will say I'm making it sound like 1 and 2 are bad. They're not bad. They're great movies. They're
they're all fine. I'll be honest, when I watch movies like that, I really don't analyze them that closely. And I don't expect much from them. If you've got some good action and a relatively well thought out storyline that doesn't have a whole lot of plot holes, I'm good. I'm good with that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm jealous of the people that can just sit down and enjoy a movie. You know, because like I get there and I'm like, I have to analyze every piece of this and figure out what works, what doesn't, and why all of those things are how they are, you know?
Yeah. I have a lot of friends like that, and I just go in being like, yay! okay. Have fun.
I just want to see things blow up. I want to see some good martial arts action scenes, and I'm good with that.
Yeah.
All right. I will say though, the kind of movies that I really have high standards on, and I can get very easily annoyed if not done correctly, tend to be more like animated films.
Yeah, but I think that's most artists, right? Like you walk in and you go, I can tell that you didn't draw that correctly, and I will say, it's weird how much of a disconnect there is between people who have tried to animate and who haven't.
But it's not even animation, because I've actually not tried to animate. It just tends to be the kind of humor and story that tends to get coupled with those. And okay, I'll use an example, but this was many years ago, and at this point, Ice Age just drives me batty. It drives me up the wall. And I remember the first time I watched it, I was just like, what is this? Like, nonsense. And some people really like it, and that's great, but I just couldn't get behind it. And it was partly the animation, but just a greater part, like it just felt like cheap storytelling and just kind of your slapstick gags that weren't very well done. And since then, I forgot the studio that made that. I think since then they have put out much better.
Who did put out that?
Yeah, in my opinion, and I think overall in general, things have improved.
Is that Illumination, or was that? That doesn't seem right. Maybe it was.
No, actually,
Blue Sky or something.
I thought it was DreamWorks at first, but I was corrected.
It definitely wasn't DreamWorks. Production company Blue Sky.
Okay. Yeah.
Blue Sky, man, they feel so new, and that's weird that they. Oh, thank God. Oh my gosh. Upon release, Ice Age received mostly positive reviews and was nominated at the 75th Academy Awards for Best Animated Feature.
Really? What year was that?
No. Good news. Losing to Spirited Away.
Oh, well, that is good news.
Oh yeah. I think it would have been just a travesty if it had
right.
if Spirited Away had lost to that.
Oh my God!
Abomination.
An alternate universe somewhere.
That
will say
horrid.
Sorry.
No, I'm just agreeing with you.
I will say this. I think you're probably going to find a lot of people who agree with you right now about how bad that movie was. There's been a lot of hate in the last few months. I guess that's a while ago now, I guess, in internet time, but of the nightmare that was the Ice Age baby.
Oh,
yeah. What?
Do you remember the baby from that movie? The whole point of the movie was that they were returning a baby.
Oh gosh, yeah, I pretty much blocked most of that from my memory, but I kind of remember that now.
So that's the plot point, right? That's the whole plot is them trying to find the humans to get the baby back, right?
Yep.
and everyone recently, like within the last 6 months, started posting how much of a nightmare this baby was. And I don't know if you can see my screen. I'll just bring it up.
Okay, do I want to put? We're gonna get kicked off just because how ugly this is. Now I gotta remember.
It's not the worst looking baby ever, but my goodness, it's so.
Oh. It's not terrible. Oh my goodness! But I see what people are doing.
It's kind of a nightmare.
Yeah.
Who is the baby from Ice Age? Why do people hate him so much?
You know, it wasn't that character.
Reborn dead Ice Age baby. Like people are. I don't know. I think it's the super spread out eyes and the.
Oh yeah.
And
well, you know, the internet needs to feed off of something, so that was.
And then, if I remember correctly, this baby is freaking enormous. The Ice Age baby is like, in comparison to the animals that it was standing next to during the movie, it shouldn't have been that size if it was a human-sized baby.
Yeah.
The Ice Age baby is 6'10".
6'10".
Look at this. Probably comparison to the other characters' heights. Compared to Manny, a woolly mammoth 21 feet tall, the baby stood up to nearly the base of his forelegs, nearly a third of Manny's standing height. With him as a reference of scale, the Ice Age baby is 6'10".
Oh my
You
goodness,
see,
that's
you
funny.
see now. I mean, I don't
See,
even,
I'm a little bit justified.
I
A
don't
little bit.
even really remember the movie, to be perfectly honest with you. I think I watched it.
Yeah.
What year was that released? I don't even remember.
2005 or something.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Here, let me. It should be
2000
right here.
2005, so almost.
It was one of the earlier
2000.
ones. How much?
2002.
2002.
Oh, okay. So that's
Wow.
fairly early in the animation world.
So I
It
was,
was just
I was probably watching that with my daughter years after it had been released, when she was 3 or 4. And at that point in time, all I cared about was that she liked it. And
As long as she likes it.
That's
And
not.
you know what? There's no problem if people like it.
That's not the worst thing. Yeah, it's just
It's
that
fine.
it shouldn't have been made.
Except it shouldn't have been made. That's fine and all if you like it, except it never should have existed.
yeah.
I think it was just like the weasel or whatever that thing was.
It's a sloth.
Well, see, I can't tell if it's a sloth or a weasel. Oh well. Nah, it's fine. It's okay. You just can't be my friend if you like Ice Age. I'm just kidding.
I didn't say I liked it. I said my 4-year-old probably liked it.
Nah. That's too funny. Yeah, since then, animation has, I think, gone uphill from there. And then there are some movies that come out and you're like, ooh, that looks like it's an Ice Age category.
Yeah, happy to live a life free of Ice Age if I can help it.
Does anyone else miss 2D animation movies?
Of course. Miss them. That's all I watch anymore. Pixar is like one of the few that does a relatively good job at CG. And even then, like lately, it's not been that great. The Good Dinosaur. My wife and I turned that off after 5 minutes.
Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't watch that one. Wow.
I don't think anybody did. The character designs were so bland, and the story was like seriously, I couldn't tell you the story because we turned it off after 5 minutes. It was
another version of Ice Age.
It was 2 grown-up brontosaurs, 2 adult brontosaurs, and 3 children brontosaurs, and they were farming. And exactly. And then I was like, cool, I'm out. I thought Cars was the worst movie that they had made, and I still sat through that whole thing. And it was it was good. It had its merits. Cars 2 quickly became the worst movie they ever made.
No, it's not. You know it is? Planes.
That's not Pixar.
Oh, that's right. Isn't? Who made that? Someone. Well. Anywho, it's not great.
It is affiliated, and I believe Disney's animation studio did it themselves. So they're not affiliated with Pixar technically. But yeah, look at that. Walt Disney Pictures and Disney Toon Studios. Disney Toon Studios? What is that?
DJ.
Starring Dane Cook. The comedian Dane Cook? What in the world? The people in this. Dane Cook. Priyanka Chopra. Julia Louis-Dreyfus. John Cleese. Sinbad. Val Kilmer. What in the world?
Wait, what is this?
Planes.
This is all planes?
This is Planes.
Val Kilmer was in Planes.
Val Kilmer, John Cleese, who I don't know if you know if you don't know that name.
Oh,
but
yeah.
that's,
The British actor. Yeah.
yes,
Michael.
the very, very popular and successful
British actor.
yes.
Yeah,
that's-
yeah. Monty Python. In Planes.
Sorry, I'm at a loss.
So it's kind of sad to see how much I didn't enjoy that movie, and yet all these people were in it, and yet it still was not enjoyable.
Did you watch it?
We did, thinking it was going to be like Cars, but I couldn't even tell you what it was about except planes, and there was a race.
I mean, of course there was.
That's about it.
But
yeah,
like-
that's all. I can't even remember. Oh, sorry, guys.
I don't
You
think
worked
I
on
ever
Planes.
watched
I'm
it.
sorry. Oh. Someone's
Yikes.
gonna be like listening to this later, be like, "That was my like magnum opus."
But see, I don't think, I don't know if you can care that much about that kind of a movie. Like, I don't know. Like, I get if you're, you know, it's your dream job or whatever to work at Disney. But like, this is okay. Like, if you're just asked to make something, you know, like it's your job. Today, your job is draw Mickey Mouse 3,000 times. It doesn't care if you love, you know, it doesn't matter if you liked Mickey Mouse growing up. It's just a job at one point, you know? Whereas, like, at Pixar, they get this team together and they do everything they can to make these people feel like it's not a job.
Mm-hmm.
Every interview, every book I've read about Pixar is like, we have built a company around being creative and making sure that you have a passion for what you're doing. And like, everything I've heard about Disney is that it's like that you will make what we ask you to make, whether you love it or not. And I don't know, like that. And I will say, Disney, of course, has made some incredible things, but that doesn't change the fact that, like, some of you're going to get passionless things from passionless projects, you know?
Yeah. So here's the question. Now, I think it was, I don't pay that much attention to who makes what. I just watch and enjoy. But my understanding is one of the very last actual hand-drawn 2D animations was that the one about the frog that was set in Louisiana. The
the Princess and the Frog.
Princess and the Frog. So my understanding was that was one of the last real hand-drawn animations they did. And at the time that they did it, they had actual, you know, quality animators working there, and they shut out the bean counters and said, if you don't draw, you don't get to make decisions.
Cool.
So what did you think of that movie? As a movie, though, did you like that movie? Did you like the animation?
I thought the animation in that movie was so good. And I thought the personalities through all the characters were so strong, and they pushed through. Like, it was truly incredible. Welcome back. You left the stream's still going. You're good. You left your own stream.
Let's see. I'm worried I may have just dropped it on YouTube if it drops at this time. No, I think we're good.
We're good.
Yeah, you guys just kept going. I just left.
All right.
By accident. Unintentionally. The internet doesn't want me on today. Sorry, Zach. You guys were talking about something. Go ahead.
We were just talking about the Princess and the Frog, like the last real hand-drawn Disney animation, and what we thought of it, you know.
And I thought it was excellent. I thought they did a
I've actually not
fantastic job.
seen it.
Well, it's worth looking at. I mean, even as in terms of being that historical sort of thing of being the first Black Disney princess and being the last ever animated thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's interesting to see the little decisions that they made, and truly, it was exactly what you want out of a 2D animated Disney feature.
Yeah.
Everything, it felt like it just came from the vault, you know.
That was like 2008 or 9, I thought. 7 maybe.
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, but it was around that time. I'm just slow on the update. I've never been like how do I say it? I've always been late at watching Disney movies. Like I finally, for the first time, saw Little Mermaid in college. My friend basically kidnapped me. I was like, "We're gonna watch Little Mermaid." I'm like, "Okay."
Oh wow, that's the first time you ever watched it.
The first time I ever watched it. I love stuff like Lion King and Beauty and the Beast, but I've still never seen Bambi.
Oh really?
Yeah.
It is extremely hard to get into those things when you're an adult.
I think so.
The more recent Disney stuff was kind of built to be viewed by a broader audience.
Yep.
Like, because they know that you grew up as a fan, so they're like, well, we've got you already, but we want to make sure that you know, like,
exactly.
We want to get you too. You know, we're not just gunning for kids anymore. We're gunning for your pocketbook. And
you know what's interesting is, sorry to interrupt, but on that note, I think Aladdin was one of the forerunners in that area of making content that was also enjoyable by adults and parents. Because, you know, like they're the ones watching it with their kid, or it's on in the background again and again. And so I always remember my mom saying how much she enjoyed watching Aladdin, not really for like the story itself, but because Genie was so funny. Because Robin Williams did such a good job. And you know, even watching it as an adult, it's hilarious and it makes sense. You know, you entertain the adults as well. So
have you seen any of the original animation for it's all really rough, but the original animation for the Genie was before they had gotten Robin Williams.
No.
They animated this character on, like, you know, basic onion skin, basic tracing paper, and they did it off of one of his stand-up sets.
Oh really?
And I don't know if you could find the whole thing, but they basically were like, they built that character to be him, because they were like, we love this guy so much, we want him to be the character. The character was made to be him, vice versa, right?
Yeah.
So they did it, and they sent they showed him that animation to like sell him on being the character.
That is interesting.
It's super cool.
That was such an iconic moment in film history. You know, Robin Williams playing that role was just amazing.
Yeah.
And the design is a little different too, I think, back in I would assume, right? But
that's kind of, and it's fun to see the evolution of those things, just how they start as, I love seeing that. I love seeing, like, oh, this is how it used to be, and this is the process it became to what we know it is today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's interesting.
There was a comment here by Ben Bernard Smith. He said, technically, Winnie the Pooh was the last 2D feature they did, but it only made $30 million or something like that. So Winnie the Pooh was the last 2D feature. I don't know what year that was, but
must have been a movie. I'm guessing, like not the animated shorter versions, but it must have been an actual movie. But I don't remember that.
Neither do I. But I mean, honestly, at that point, I was probably losing touch with current animation, not watching as much of it. So
Right, exactly. I hope it makes a resurgence. I think there will be some kind of resurgence. It won't be like it used to, but there seems to be enough people and maybe new studios that are interested in keeping that alive and knowing, like, just even seeing stuff like Studio Ghibli and anime and how that's really taken root in the States and other places where that's still alive and people love it.
Yeah, but then unfortunately, CG stuff is taking over in Japan too.
yeah.
And not just a little bit either. Like, it used to just be that they would replace, they would do everything except for robots, in 2D and robots and cars and stuff like that, and then maybe some scenery.
Yeah.
But then it compounded, and they learned how to do it better and get softer, and so then they started doing some background characters, right? But now they've moved on to entire shows being CG, and they just that, but they still trying to keep that anime look, which is weird.
Huh.
They're trying to do anime, 2D anime with CG, and it is extremely strange to look at. And it makes me uncomfortable almost every time, right? But
what shows are doing that? I haven't watched a whole lot.
Okay, so Netflix does it a lot because they grab who they can. But
I'm not really up on modern anime. But.
Yeah.
Try to find a good example, because not everything, but there is a fair amount of stuff. And
I wonder if it's your brain is switching over, because I noticed that in art, if you blend two different styles, like a realism and a line art, kind of like what I was doing, my brain would stop and try to process it differently. And so that's what kind of produced the discomfort in my the way I process things visually. So I kind of wonder if there's a little bit of that wrestling going on with the animation in the 2D or 3D, I mean.
But it's not impossible, right? Like, you can do a good job of even mixing the two. Into the Spider-Verse is the perfect example of doing both.
Yeah, it's true.
That was really well done, honestly. That really was. And I'll be honest, we were talking earlier before you came on, Fuzzy, about Blender, and Blender has a feature of doing 2D animation now where you can mix it in with 3D. And I think you're going to see a lot more independent 2D kind of stuff being done.
Yeah.
They also have some 3D shaders that you can take a 3D object and you can shade it so that it looks like it was drawn in 2D, which is really interesting.
I don't know if you guys have watched Bob's Burgers, but I mean, shows like that, they do that every now and then. You can kind of tell if you pay attention. You're like, yep, that is 3D, but it's very well done, where it doesn't cause the uncomfortable switch in your brain.
Yeah,
where your brain's trying to figure out what it's seeing. So that's
cool.
Do
you remember the first really, really horrible attempts to make 3D animation? Like there was a Christmas movie about a train that had a really famous actor in it. What was it called?
Polar Express?
Yes.
And I haven't seen it either.
It had that because it was one of those first big budget attempts to do good 3D animation, but it had that what do they call it? The uncanny valley, where it was close to being realistic, but not quite, and it just looked really weird. It just looked really strange. Like, it really threw you off when you looked at it.
Yeah, it was Tom Hanks.
Yes, Tom Hanks.
Oh, really interesting. Have you ever watched Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within? It came out in probably 2002 or 3. But I remember then, I mean, even then and even now, I saw like in the last couple of years, they still have done an incredible job in making a pretty realistic 3D film. And I just remember being amazed.
I do recall watching it and thinking it was pretty good, but I don't recall the specifics of it, to be honest.
I don't remember it at all. I don't know if I even watched it.
It was especially good.
It's not impossible. It's just not easy to make good animation without being, it's a trade. You're trading quality for, I don't know.
I think that movie in particular incorporated a lot of like ghostly figures, didn't it? There was a lot of sort of semi-transparent characters and ghostly figures and things that were swimming around, and that was all done quite well.
I'm gonna share my screen so you can see it. Oh, I'm not sharing. Hello, I'm not even sharing my screen. Okay. Let me get back on. Oh, hold on. I need to actually share my screen. I can do the thing. Oh my goodness. Here. Okay. Yeah. So.
What year is this?
I'll have to look it up. There's another really good. This guy, like this older gentleman here, was just exceptionally rendered. Amazingly. And I mean, and now you look and you're like, sure, yeah, it's 3D, but like watching them talk and watching them, like even the poster is kind of cool. It's only small. Yeah, you can tell a little bit, but I just thought it was really good.
Well, yeah, that's the thing too, is like you look back on this stuff and it is like, oh wow, that's worse than I even remember, you know. It seems like that happens more with 3D than anything else. Like,
but this was one of those things I remember looking back and being like, wow, this is actually better than I remember. Like I thought it was going to be worse, but it actually was better than I thought it would be.
I seem to recall of all the 3D stuff that was out there that they had some pretty good acting and voices and things like that too, which really benefited it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So my husband and I have been watching the Clone Wars, the Star Wars Clone Wars, the animated series, and the animation is fine. Like it's kind of simple, but I think they're actually a pretty good job at getting the job done. The story is a lot better than I imagined it would be, and the writing too. So
well, that's what people obsess over, right?
Right, exactly.
Nothing but
it's good. It's been good.
I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah. I think what's interesting is that it's actually much less of a children's show than I thought it would be. It deals with wartime stuff. It deals with a lot of strategy and delicate matters. And that was very interesting just to see how they tackled that in a kid's show. And, you know, like not everyone gets off alive. Like there are characters that don't make it. And you're just like, whoa, it's crazy.
What happened?
Yeah. I never was a huge fan of the prequels, but this is making me appreciate them more.
There was a lot of good stuff about the prequels that I think people just like to just ignore because it's fun to say that the prequels suck.
Yeah.
And I will say, in comparison to the originals, of course they're not as good. But
of course.
But the hatred, just the level of like,
no.
Oh my gosh, it's insane.
Well, that's just Twitter culture anyway.
Yeah, it's true. I'm not ashamed to say, and people will be like, what? I was like, I actually like episode 1. And I think a lot of that has to do with the nostalgia when I was younger watching it, because that was the big Star Wars movie and the big Star Wars comeback. And we didn't have that much before it. Growing up in the 90s was kind of a lull in that time. And so it's special to me then. And yeah, okay, I look back and sure, it's not the best acting or it's not the best script, but I still enjoy it. So
it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. Like, I think you're right. People are like, it's almost like if you don't say you like if you hate it, then people are like, what? It is bad. No, it's okay. You don't have to say like convince me it's bad.
Ben makes a good point that now that we have the sequels, the prequels look even better.
Yeah.
Oh, funny.
I've purposely just, I say purposely, I just haven't seen the last one. I don't care. I didn't care to see it. It wasn't like I thought it would be horrible. I just didn't care because the first two sequels were so mediocre. Where I was like, whatever, man.
I found them entertaining. I'll say that. They weren't the Star Wars that I knew and grew up with, but the Star Wars I knew and grew up with took time to build that enjoyment. So I'm not expecting these movies to build that instantaneously. And honestly, it's taken. I enjoyed the sequels, but I still wasn't a fan growing up. And it's only until recently that I've played the games like Knights of the Old Republic or starting to watch the Clone Wars that I'm really starting to gain more of appreciation for that era in Star Wars. So it takes time, and yeah, the new ones were fun for me. Different way that it's just a different Star Wars. That's all. It's just different.
Yep.
I'll be honest, even with the originals though, I found when they updated the special effects on them, like I got the DVD set when they had updated the special effects, but there were some things in there that I was just like, yeah, maybe the effects are better, but you've missed the whole point. Like you've lost the spirit of what it was.
Yeah. There were a couple additions that were cool. Like if anyone is familiar, and there's a creature called the Dewback. It's just like this creature that the stormtroopers ride. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. Those are fine. But then, yeah, I agree. There's a few scenes, and there's one in the Jedi Returns where they changed the whole music sequence, and now suddenly it's like there's this show and dance that is just pretty hokey, and you're like, it's just not needed. It's just and it wasn't even that long of a sequence in the original because that's not the point of the scene. And they made it more like that's the point of the scene is this kind of slapsticky song and dance.
Mm-hmm.
So
I found the scene where they it was a scene that was not in the original, where Han Solo was confronted by Jabba the Hutt.
Yes, that's
right.
Yeah. And then he has to like walk behind him because originally there was a human character in there, and he has to walk behind him, and he steps on his tail, and it just doesn't work. And,
that's right.
I thought they should have just left it out.
It didn't really add anything.
Don't force it.
It's so odd because like I had a VHS from like forever ago, right? Before a lot of the changes happened. Mm-hmm. And I was like listening to people talk about certain parts, and I was like, what are you talking about? And it didn't occur to me that changes had even been made, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what is, and they didn't know either. So it was this weird conversation of like, when this happened, like, what are you talking about?
A fan art movie or what? Huh?
Yeah, like this is not. You're not talking about the thing that I know.
Yeah.
It is odd to see all that, but yeah,
I think I recently found like the original box set that we had growing up of Star Wars, of VHS. I'm like, don't get rid of that. Like, save it. Let's get a VHS player just to watch.
So important.
Seriously. Because at some point it will be censored and you won't be able to access it by streaming it.
And I actually would not be surprised if it was sort of censored now.
I wonder if, because I know that Disney does stuff like that, but I felt like Disney having the property, like that was our best bet at ever getting the original out.
Yeah.
But now I wonder if they're going to go after people. Do you know what the gosh darn it, there's a name for it. There's a group of people, a huge group of people across the world that have been putting together this version of Star Wars that's as close to the original theatrical release as possible.
What?
And I wish I could remember what it was called.
Are they called the Rebels?
No, I don't know what the group's called. It's there's different people, there's just this drive to make this happen, and it's more or less happened at this point. You can download it. They're not, of course, to stray away from any legal ramifications, they've gone through as many back channels as they can to make sure that they don't make any money off of it, and that they're not giving it out in a way that could be misconstrued as illegal. But they've done so much work, and it's called something like the Unmastered Edition or something like that, like the opposite of a remaster or whatever.
Right.
I wish I could. Gosh darn it! I should just.
It's basically like a fan film where they've recreated the scenes with different people in them, and
no, they've collected. They've gone across the world to try to find like original cellophane film.
Wow!
And like they're trying their best, and they've done a very good job of making a Blu-ray quality direct recreation, not reboot, recreation of the original film.
Wow!
And it's like taking out all the CG edits, getting rid of scenes that weren't there originally, just like the Jabba scene you're talking about. They just cut. Bringing in old scenes and making them, because they talk about it, and there's like this. I'll just send you the link if you guys have time to watch it. But
sure.
Is it Demastered? Is that what it's called? Despecialized.
Specialized. Oh, okay.
That's interesting. I haven't really heard much about that. I've seen stuff for Star Trek where you have like fan films that have production quality equal to the television series with fans as actors. There's been a lot of stuff like that done that's been pretty impressive.
Yeah. That sounds next level.
Okay, yeah. So here's the link to the video that shows you all the magical things.
Yay.
Yeah, it's a 20-minute video, so don't watch it right now. But it's so cool because on the one hand, it's like watching all these people do really difficult, like reverse engineering, of VFX. But then the other part of it is watching like these people from other countries who don't speak the same language, like coming together to make this thing happen.
Yeah, that's cool.
It really goes to show how you just shouldn't mess with it.
It shows the beauty of art and creative things to bring people together too.
Yeah.
People from all over the world have come together to do this thing, and the original owners of Star Wars would have no problem with that. They promoted fan fiction and cosplay and all kinds of stuff like that. I don't know if Disney's going to allow that kind of thing anymore, but
I don't doubt they'd go after people like that, which is weird because I was listening to interviews and stuff about like Star Wars and the the Lucas I don't know what you call it, like Lucasfilms in general, and they would say, when we use when we go to put a parody of a character in our cartoon, we'll go to Marvel and say, can we use Spider-Man? And they'll say, yes, you just need to change him to, instead of red and blue, make him purple and orange, make enough changes that he doesn't defame our character, right? And when they called Lucasfilms, they were always like, can we use Darth Vader? And they were like, Yes, but you have to make it look exactly like Darth Vader.
What?
Well, I mean, they recognized that every time a fan creates something, it's just promoting their brand, and the fans loved the brand, so they weren't going to defame it.
Yeah.
You know,
There's definitely more love than hate for it.
And I think it's super disrespectful to the original VFX artists to go back like that.
Yeah.
Like to revamp it, quote unquote, and like cover up all the hard prosthetic works that people did, the sculpting, the lighting, like you look at how they did VFX back then with the space fights, the dog fights in space. That stuff was insane.
Oh yeah.
And it still looks good.
It still looks so good.
Honestly, that's one of the reasons I think one of my favorite movies in the last 10 years has been Box Trolls. The stop motion animation.
Heck
Box
yes,
Trolls.
dude. All that stop motion stuff is great.
That was
I didn't know it was
awesome.
stop motion.
Oh yeah, Box Trolls is amazing stop motion. And if you Google sort of and look around on YouTube, there's some behind the scenes stuff of them posing the different characters, and it's just amazing to watch.
Oh, cool.
Oh yeah, that studio is one of my favorites, and I wonder.
I thought it was.
They did Paranorman, and they did.
There might be a little bit of CG effects mixed in, but 90% of it is stop motion.
Well, they make it a very good point, or they make a very strong point to stay in every way that they can that they do not. They're like, we try in every way to never use CG if we can help it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of avoided because like it's just gonna be another CG film. I was wrong. Okay.
Box Trolls is awesome, Jessica. You have to go watch Box Trolls tonight.
Okay, I will. Check it out. No, I'm delighted to hear that.
Every stop motion movie is so good. Like it's hard to call any of them bad. Leica, that's it. Leica does such good work. Their stories are sometimes really mediocre, which is frustrating. But they did Coraline.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They did Paranorman. They did Kubo and the Two Strings.
I love that one too. Yeah.
And they recently did Missing Link.
I haven't seen that.
Ooh, they also did Corpse Bride. I have not heard of these. Very Harold and Kumar 3D Christmas. What?
Okay, that's not stop motion.
Oh, it has to be. How did they? What?
Maybe they contributed a small piece to it. I've never seen that movie, but it's live action,
right? Like it was.
Yeah.
What in the
I got to step out for a second. I'm just going to mute myself.
Oh, there's a sequence in it that's claymation. Slacker Cats. The heck is that?
What is? I know. I'm just sitting here like, that's interesting.
Slacker Cats. Oh, it looks like 2D.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh! I know I'm leaving you alone, but all of a sudden I have to use the restroom. So
go for it. Wing lines. This might be a good chance to see. I'm behind on the chat. Yay! Yeah, thank you, Maria, for finding us again. Yeah, sorry. Unfortunately, YouTube decided that we were very mean and offensive, so it ended the stream, or it ended the broadcast on YouTube. So we had to kind of scramble to get back up, which was sad because we were actually talking about good things and empowering people and different communities, and those darn trigger words and algorithms could not differentiate. So that's what happened. But I'm glad that you were able to find it again. I was kind of like, oh, hopefully people will find it. Had to update all the links that I put out. Okay. Wing Rats. Getting close to calling this page at least mostly good. Anyways.
Okay.
Well, I'm probably gonna work for just a little bit longer and then wrap it up here because it's pretty much time to wrap it up. So I'll make sure Craig gets back so he's not like, where did they go?
Whatever you gotta do.
Yep. I haven't heard from Zach for a while, so I hope they're doing okay.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
I was thinking of that. You couldn't make it last week, but hopefully they are okay. All right. Okay, I think this page is going to be pretty good for now.
What's your favorite anime ever?
I'm ashamed to say that I'm probably going to say something and then later after we're done talking be like, oh man, that one. I really enjoyed. Huh?
Sorry, no, I was just going to say that happens to me every time. People ask me that question, so don't worry about it.
I really like The Cat Returns. I think that's just really fun and delightful.
Such a good movie.
Man, I would have, if I had seen that when I was a kid, I would have gotten into anime hardcore. I know it. So unfortunately, it was not part of my childhood. I'm going to put the screen on you just for a moment. There are some other good ones too.
You know what I think, just to stay on that vein,
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing that made me most mad about Whispers of the Heart, have you ever seen that movie? Do you know what that is?
I have. Mm-hmm.
The thing that made me most mad about that movie was that it didn't have the
Baron,
the talking cat in it. Yeah.
But he was a statue, which inspired. I know. I was kind of like, he's got to come to life. And then
it infuriated me to no end.
Spoiler, sorry. But it was fun. It was a fun and really sweet movie. But every single time, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's totally gonna come to life. Like, come on, buddy. Oh,
that's it. Too. It's like, come on, just I don't know. Which one came out first?
I don't know. I was just gonna look up. Oh, this is about top anime movies of all time. I'll be like, oh yeah, that's my favorite. But I can't.
Is 2002. Whisper of the Heart is 1995. Okay, so it did. Was there a dream sequence in that where she meets the cat or something?
I think there was something like that.
Okay, so I guess that's my frustration because I saw The Cat Returns first, which I guess doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And then I was expecting. Just suppose makes way more sense just in terms of even the title, right?
Exactly. No, I saw in that order too, and it was. I kind of knew it going into it, being like, it's not the same movie.
Well, I didn't, and the cover is extremely misleading.
I know. Yes, that's right. It was like her imagination. I think that's what you were saying.
Yeah, which is fine. And if I had never seen The Cat Returns, it would have been probably fine. I would have been like, "Oh, beautiful! It's a nice symbol and everything." No,
I really like Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo. Those were also really fun. They're I haven't seen that many, admittedly, but I like those.
Those are so good.
Yeah.
Is it? Is it Stephen Bloom?
What?
Is it just Stephen Bloom that makes an anime work?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that like the director or the?
That's the voice actor for he did Mugen and he did Spike.
Really? Oh my god.
He did both of those. Yeah.
Well, it might have something to do with it, I guess.
And they both feel kind of like the same character too, just set in different times.
They really, really do. That's true. I don't know. I think I need to watch more anime apparently. I'll watch it. We're gonna like end this stream and I'll be like, darn it, that was the one that I really liked. And I forgot.
Well, watch that one first, the despecialized thing first, because it's super fun.
Yeah. Maria agrees. The Cat Returns is awesome. It is so fun. It is. Then you bring around the digital dragon, right? Let's see. Nostalgia keeps My Neighbor Totoro is number 1 for me. Yes, that was fun. That was fun to see. Again, I didn't see it until I was an adult. But the cool thing is my husband and I were living in Japan at the time. And oh my goodness, we were like in the movie like every day. I'm like, that's Japan. Like that's where we live. It's so cool. And you just go out in the countryside and it's like you see all those rolling hills and oh my goodness. And you go get like the street vendor snacks. And I better be careful. Otherwise, like Craig and I are just going to start and like talk about Japanese food for the next 3 hours. So no, that's, yeah, My Neighbor Totoro is good. Craig, to fill you in, we were asking what, or Fuzzy was asking, favorite anime of all time.
Anime of all time. Oh, that's tricky. You know, I've seen so many different ones. I mean, I tend to enjoy some pretty dark and gruesome stuff. But I mean, Akira is a classic.
Oh yes,
you can't. Really, I loved Akira. Just it was, you know, it was kind of the genesis of the whole cyberpunk. Although I think there was other things before that, but I have to say, as far as series go, I can't even remember the name of it now. The Titans, the ones.
Attack on Titan.
Attack on Titan. Yeah, I mean that was a remarkable series.
Is it done now?
I believe so.
I haven't been following, so that's why I asked.
Yeah, I mean I haven't really followed it for a long time. I watched, you know, the first bit of it, and it was really impressive. But
I think that had the most potential in terms of like popularity in America.
Yeah,
it's so sad to see it drop off because, you know, it takes a long time to do animation, you know?
Yeah.
And inevitably, because of the way that America works, everybody stopped caring.
Yeah.
And it just, you know, they couldn't push the marketing like America does. You know, because when things take a long time in America, they have a plan for marketing that's like millions of, you know, 100,000, whatever, you know. And they're like, okay, cool. Now we're going to push this back on everybody so that they can remember. And they start the marketing like 2 years out.
Yeah.
And like with, you know, in Japan, they don't, you know, they've got different expectations. They don't plan like that. So
yeah,
it's just sad. It was sad.
Something called patience.
Yeah. Easier said than done with
I just think that it's like they're kind of like, what? It'll be done when it's done. And then today, what?
Well, I think too they have there's an entire industry built around manga that then become anime, and so you have like these long-term fans who have this history, and you know you can sort of have stuff come out slowly over time, and people still love it and follow it. And
right.
Yeah, that's true. I think there's some kind of level of expectation and understanding for manga and the culture of creating it that it's not quite taken root here yet. But it's on its way in different forms. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to say. It's not a manga, but I really liked Avatar.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But technically, it's not a manga, of course. But an anime.
They did outsource a lot of animation to South Korea, though.
Okay, I can see that.
From what I recall. So that's, I don't know if you want to call it I really don't think it matters what you call it.
Yeah, I know that there's some technical terms, and someone's like, "It's not an anime." I'm like,
Whatever.
It was done in that style for sure.
Yeah.
Gosh darn if it don't look exactly like one.
How dare it?
And it was produced in East Asia. Gosh darn. I mean, well, if you say it's not an anime, I guess I'm wrong.
But yes, that was a good one. And I like Korra, but it wasn't I didn't like it as much as I liked.
Oh, it wasn't the same. No way.
The fight sequences in Korra, though, were pretty awesome, though. They were really
very well done.
You watch it as an artist, and you're like, I gotta memorize this. How would they do this? And put it in my own comics. Tell me all secrets. Well, guys, I think it is time for me to bow out.
Okay. Well, it was wonderful being on the stream again. I really appreciate it. This is probably my last time here for a good long while. I know. Well, what I've been saying is I'm unsure, right?
Oh, yeah.
But this time I'm pretty sure that this is going to be my last time for a long while. So
no worries. Take a break. If you want, I can still let you know when I'm doing them.
Oh yeah.
But
if I get lucky,
Yeah. I can break away.
You can bring your child on with you.
There you go.
I mean, that's gonna be it, right? I'm gonna be letting my wife do the art thing now while I watch the kid.
Mm-hmm.
So there's really not much of a chance that I'm gonna be able to stream or do anything consistent like that. I'll get breaks when he naps, but that's about it.
Yeah. So she can live stream with us.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be harder because she's not on. She's not digital, right? But
I was thinking of that because there's traditional art I'd like to do in the future. I'm like, well, I guess I'll just set up a camera that I don't know how to do.
It's
like
not
one
impossible. It's not
what?
impossible. It's not impossible.
Some way of doing it. Well, good. Well, I'll send out. I don't know if there's better days or times that work for you guys. I've made it a little bit later, Craig, so it's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
I'm still playing around at different times.
Yeah. I mean, whatever works for you, Jessica. I'll pop in when I can, but this certainly worked better for me. I could finish up at 4:00 and join you, so you weren't alone for an hour.
Yeah, that may have been a small incentive too, but good. Well,
and I actually got quite a bit done here. I've been working out this character, so I feel good about this. This is good.
It's looking fantastic. It really is.
It's I think that 3D model really helped to get me a couple different angles I could look at, so that was good.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you got some good work done, and Fuzzy, it looks like you were able to get some stuff done on your comic as well.
Yeah, these are chapter icons for the.
Nice.
I
don't know what that
here,
is, but
it's here. Oh, where am I? It's a little hamster.
Oh man.
Does
Does anyone have a flashback to like the dancing hamster back from like early?
I remember.
They know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Hamster
No
dance.
idea. Oh, the hamster dance. Oh, yeah.
Hamster dance. Oh man, making a comeback.
So I'm just doing the under sketch of this one right now. It's gonna be
glorious.
Mm-hmm.
Well, cool. Well,
and Maria Rice has been sticking with us for a while here in the chat, so
thank you, Maria. And Ben, if you're still there, thank you too.
Ben bowed out. He had to go to bed because it was much later over there across the water.
I suspect. Well, if you watch this later, Ben, we have not forgotten you.
Well, thanks a lot, Jessica.
You are remembered.
You have yourself a good night.
Yes, and thank you guys so much for hanging out. Exactly. Hopefully I'll catch you guys at some point, Fuzzy again, and Craig another time, and whenever you guys can make it on.
Yep.
Yes.
So,
have a wonderful day, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you. You too. Take care.